Now, it's been a while since I've done this, but I believe it's needed on this occasion. For those of you who are new to this channel, this is my Lego table, and this is me flipping said table, to relieve some stress. Ah! Now, I don't want to alarm anyone. Is your debris cat making too much noise all the time?
I haven't really prepared for this.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Recap. My name is Clay. Thank you for tuning in. It's okay. It's all right. I found all the pieces. We can rebuild it. Blackhawks have just completed playing their 26th game of their shortened 56-game season. Final game of a 3-game homestand against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, I must add. And unfortunately, they end it in disappointing fashion, blowing a 3-goal lead and losing by a final score of 6-3. Now, if you're feeling a bit of deja vu in terms of Hawks blowing leads, you're not crazy, at least in this regard. Since the beginning of February, so just a little over a month ago, the Blackhawks have held 7 multi-goal leads, so 2 goals or more. They've blown 6 of them. That's not a good trend. However, the Blackhawks did win a good chunk of those games, and they did well enough in the month of February to put themselves in the playoff spot they're in right now. But the ability to close out games, shut teams down, to not let teams get back into games, that is something this team still needs to learn. Now, we should probably pinch ourselves every once in a while, remind ourselves that this is a young team, and despite how much success they've had so far this season, despite how much they've exceeded expectations, they're still learning. They're still trying to figure things out, and they haven't quite figured out multi-goal leads yet. It's going in one ear and out the other. Unfortunately, it's frustrating for sure. But to be fair to them, coming into the season, which was supposed to be a rebuilding year, multi-goal leads was that's like AP level stuff. It probably wasn't even on the syllabus. We need to focus on just getting leads first. We're ahead of schedule, folks. We're ahead of schedule. We'll get to it. We'll learn it eventually. It just might take a little bit. And hey, as long as they learn and figure it out before the playoffs start, they're golden, right? And I know, playoffs are still a long ways away. We're not quite halfway through this season, and a lot of things can happen. But they're playing well right now, despite, blowing multi-goal leads. And if they keep playing that way, they have a good chance at making it. And learning how to keep multi-goal leads certainly wouldn't hurt. Speaking of hurt, Kelvin DeHaan not in the lineup for this game after blocking a shot and leaving Friday night's game. So Coach Colleton going with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. Lucas Carlson and Wyatt Kalynuk are those extra defensemen. And Wyatt Kalynuk, the former University of Wisconsin Badger, making his NHL debut, which is always a cool sight to see. And shout out to the Wisconsin Badgers men's team for winning the regular season Big Ten title, and the women's team for winning the regular season and tournament WCHA titles. No big deal. Kevin Lankinen back in net for the Hawks. Andrei Vasilevskiy back in net for the Lightning. Pretty mellow first period in this one. Final game of a 3-game series between these two teams. Both teams with a win so far. Both teams with 3 points so far. Neither team really looking to press on the gas pedal too hard. No one really looking to blow this game open too soon. But with just over 9 minutes left to go in the first period, the Blackhawks would strike first thanks to a great shift from the Soderberg, Janmark, and Kurashev line. Kurashev had a number of really good chances in the shift. Finally, he would put the puck in the back of the net, in close, past a sprawling Vasilevskiy. Backhand roof job, Kurashev with his 6th goal of the season, and puts the Hawks up 1-0 early. A couple minutes later, the Blackhawks would get a power play opportunity, and for the most part, it didn't look all that great. It didn't get a whole lot of chances. And credit the Lightning, their penalty kill this entire series was giving the Hawks fits. But the Hawks were able to capitalize on this particular advantage. With about 20 seconds remaining on the power play, the Hawks catch the Lightning on a little bit of a change. Patrick Kane takes the puck into the zone. He gets it down low to Kubalik, who then chips it cross crease to Janmark. Puck's in the air, but thankfully Janmark activates spring training mode and just bats it into the back of the net, and the Hawks take a 2-0 lead into the second period. All right, we've been here before. We've had a 2-goal lead against the Lightning in this series. Sure, it didn't end well. But maybe we've learned. And at the beginning of the second period, it looked like we did learn. Just over 3 minutes into the second period, Blackhawks forecheck giving the Lightning fits. Janmark takes the puck away below the goal line, throws it in front towards the crease to Suter, who puts in 5-hole past Vasilevsky, and the Blackhawks are up 3-0 in this game in total control. Things are going perfectly. Maybe too perfectly. Shortly after that, Brandon Hagel hustling, back-checking, doing all the things you love to see a player do. He gets punished for his effort. He gets called for a hooky penalty that I am not really in agreement with. I didn't think it was a hook at all. It was a good play, but it gets called, and so the Lightning go to the power play where, of course, they score a goal. A ridiculous snipe from Palat makes it 3-1, but hey, the Blackhawks still have a 2-goal lead, still in control of this game. 23 seconds later, Yanni Gourde with the puck takes it into the offensive zone up the left-hand side, puts a shot on net. Lankinen with the save, but it's a juicy rebound. Gourde follows up his shot, puts it into the back of net, and all of a sudden it is a 3-2 game just like that. And shortly after that, Lightning would go back on the power play, this time a legit penalty. Ian Mitchell certainly hooked Steven Stamkos there. And of course, the Lightning make the Blackhawks pay once again. This time, a goal from Victor Hedman from the point, a lot of traffic in front. And the Blackhawks officially have blown their 3-goal lead in under 5 minutes. About a minute and a half after the Lightning tie this game up, Connor Murphy tries to inject some life into his team, tries to right the ship, if you will, and completely obliterates Cernak. Cernak was going around the Blackhawks net with the puck, with his head down, and Murphy catches him hard. Now, technique-wise, it was textbook for Murphy. Didn't leap into the hit, didn't raise his shoulder, didn't raise his elbow. Main point of contact was the body, but because Cernak had his head down and was in a vulnerable position, the head became a point of contact, and so it was an illegal hit to the head. And I'm all about being cautious in terms of hits to the head. So I am fine with the penalty being called the 5-minute major. I'm completely fine with that. And I would have been completely fine with the 10-minute game misconduct as well. The fact that they gave him a match penalty, which means that he could potentially be suspended, I'm not really in agreement with. I didn't think this was an egregious hit. I didn't think it was intentional. Connor Murphy, this is his first offense. Like I said, technique-wise, it was textbook if Cernak was in a normal skating position. He puts himself into a vulnerable position with his head down, which they teach you from a little kid not to do. I just don't think it's worth a suspension. Connor Murphy shouldn't have hit him like that, for sure, and that's why it's in penalty. Connor Murphy should have seen that he was in a vulnerable position and just basically stood him up instead of obliterate him. But at the same time, Blackhawks had just given up 3 straight goals, and Murphy's trying to get some life back into the team. He was kind of in a pickle. It was still a penalty. Suspension worthy? I don't think so. With that said, he'll probably get suspended because it's the Department of Player Safety. I just don't agree with it. Now the Blackhawks, who were already down Calvin DeHaan in this game, are now down Connor Murphy as well, which is not ideal. And to boot, they have to now try and kill off a 5-minute penalty, which it's a major, so Lightning can score as many times as they want. All 5 minutes still have to be killed. Thankfully, despite the Lightning having already scored 2 power play goals in this game, they don't score any more power play goals on this major penalty. But with about 5 minutes left to go in the second period, Lightning would go back onto the power play. Mattias Janmark gets called for a high sticking penalty, which, in my opinion, give Blake Coleman the Oscar, because that's a hell of an acting job. I don't think that stick hits him in the face. I don't. Not from this replay. No way. But it was close enough for the refs to call it, and naturally Yanni Gourde would score on the ensuing power play to make it 4 straight unanswered goals by the Tampa Bay Lightning, 3 of them being power play goals. And so this game goes into the third period with the Lightning up 4-3 thanks to a complete implosion by the Blackhawks in that middle frame. The Lightning would do a really good job in the third period shutting the Hawks down. They would outshoot the Hawks 16-9 in that final frame. The Hawks really didn't get any good looks at tying this game up. And then with just under 6 minutes left to go in the game, Alex Killorn would score a goal to essentially put this game away. And then a little bit after that, Lightning would get another power play where they would once again score on just for good measure. And this game ends with the final score 6-3. So yeah, disappointing end to this series. Disappointing to bookend this series with a blown 2-goal lead in the first game and a blown 3-goal lead in the third game. The Hawks got 3 points out of this series, but they had some great opportunities to get even more. With that said, if you would have told me that the Hawks get 3 points out of a possible 6 in this 3-game series against the defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning after getting completely blown out against the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first 2 games of the season, I would have taken that every single time. So, glass half full here. Now the Hawks get to go on the road for a bit of a lengthy 6-game road trip, all starting in Dallas. And that first game in Dallas will be, knock on wood, Patrick Kane's 1,000th career NHL game, which is always a cool milestone. I ended up going to Duncan Keith's 1,000th game, and that was pretty neat. Unfortunately, we're in a pandemic where there's not really any fans. I mean, there will be some fans in Dallas, but it would have been better if, this was a normal year and there was a full house, and even better if it was in Chicago, but it's not how it's working out. Thankfully, the Hawks will most likely do some sort of ceremony when the Hawks return back after this 6-game road trip. And, fun fact, the team that the Hawks will be playing that first game back home will be the Florida Panthers. So Coach Q will be in the house for that. So that should be fun. But it's a little bit of a ways away. Anyhow, I'm going to end this video there. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Hawks Recap. I really hope you got some sort of enjoyment out of it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate that as always. But most importantly, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.